Deputy Speaker, and it's a pleasure to follow the honourable member from Gordon. The increasingly unstable world we live in brings many challenges to people at home, none more so than the many concerns people have across the country about the cost of living and the potential impact such rises can have on family living standards. And yesterday marked 2 years since the start of the first lockdown, the reckoning point of the first pandemic of its kind in over 100 years. Flash forward 2 years and we already face a new crisis, the war in Ukraine, the first full-scale war on European soil since World War II. And like the member for Gordon just outlined, the tax burden being at its highest since that point as well shows the scale of the economic hit that we took from coronavirus. And it's in that context that we must view the Chancellor's statement yesterday, that there are no easy choices, that the outlook right now is bleak, and our focus has to be to steady the ship, to support the most vulnerable and to rebuild. But we were only able to do this because of the tough decisions we took preceding this crisis. And it isn't really worth thinking about the situation this country would be in had the opposition won in 2019. This bill is an example of how we rebuild, setting the course for lower taxes and starting with a tax cut in July for everyone earning less than £35,000, a tax cut for 70% of workers. By raising the threshold at which we all start paying national insurance in July from £9,500 to £12,500, we are supporting over 30 million working people with a tax cut amounting to around £330 increase in income for the average family. This means that no individual will pay any tax at all until they earn at least £12,500, the largest increase in the starting tax threshold in British history. It means that workers up and down the country can earn £1,000 a month without having to give a single penny to the government, and it's the first step on our journey to lower taxes. In stark contrast to a Labour opposition that has absolutely no tax-cutting plan, or any plan at all for that matter. Indeed, the Shadow Chancellor recently proposed over £170 billion in uncosted spending increases as she panders to the hard left of her party with absolutely no plan to pay for it, and absolutely no plan for how to get more money back into the pockets of hard-working people. Madam Deputy Speaker, as my honourable friend from Dorset pointed out in his remarks, on this side of the House, we believe that cutting taxes is in everyone's interest. But it is only by sound fiscal management which enables us to cut taxes this year, next year and beyond. This strong economy has meant that last year the UK was the fastest growing nation in the G7, and unemployment levels are now back to their previous pre-pandemic lows, which is a remarkable achievement considering that we've just emerged from a once-in-a-century global pandemic. But to turn briefly to some of the throwaway suggestions from the benches opposite, they ask why not just cancel the health and care levy, with no alternative proposals for how to fund the NHS and social care as we begin to see longer and longer waiting lists caused by the pandemic. They talk about an oil and gas windfall tax, with no acknowledgement that it is the oil and gas sector that is delivering the future energy security we need to see through investments in carbon capture and storage and in hydrogen production in places like Teesside. They talk about increasing defence spending, with no recognition of the fact that most of them spent the period from 2015 to 2019 propping up a hard-left leadership who wanted to scrap the nuclear deterrent, while last year we delivered the largest ever cash increase to the defence budget since the Cold War. Labour has no plans for the NHS, no plans for energy independence and no plans for defence. They have no plan at all, Madam Deputy Speaker. We will, on this side of the House, will keep on delivering on the people's priorities and taking the tough decisions to ensure that our economy does not just recover, but becomes more resilient to the challenges we face in an uncertain world. Thank you.